Well, we're certainly glad that you are sitting in that seat, and we look forward to many years of seeing what God is going to do in the area of discipleship for our kids.
Amen.
Julie, having come through the time of COVID, one of the things that our churches recognize is that if there's an area that we really need help in, there's probably two areas that we need help in. Is one is outreach and how to
Mm,
do that effectively, and the other one is discipleship. And the whole essence of the gospel and the good news and proclaiming the good news and the Great Commission is to go into all the world and make disciples. And so
make
if there's
disciples.
anything that we need to be good at is disciple making.
Yes.
That's our commission. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And coming through COVID, we recognize, we've done a lot of things, but discipleship
Mm,
has been a struggle for us in being
yeah.
effective and making effective disciples. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what is your vision for discipleship? What should our vision be for discipleship?
Mm,
If we want to do discipleship, we have to have a clear idea of what does that mean. So
yeah.
could you give us a little clue on that?
Yeah, sure. Well, to speak to what you just mentioned, especially coming out of COVID and our realization, which I think is great, it's good for us to acknowledge that there's a place where we might need to, I guess, course correct. And I think that's where a lot of us realized was a major area that needed to take place. I think, we have probably mistakenly treated programming and curriculum as our discipleship method at the expense of the individual child and what they need to grow in their faith so that they will, in fact, remain lifelong followers of Jesus. And so, my vision is really that we would take a step back. We would maybe lean back and look at what we are doing in our local church ministry to impact the one. If we're not paying attention to the individual child or children in our ministries and making intentional, consistent choices to benefit them on a faith life level, we're going to continue to see the trajectory that is concerning to us right now. So, what does that mean? I really, in Kidmin office, Kelly says this all the time, and it's really grabbed a hold of me. He says there's a difference between a good kids ministry and an excellent kids ministry, and he says it is simply that there's a destination. So when we talk about a good kids ministry, a leader of that ministry may be good at communication. They may be good at creative elements or creating fun events and activities. They may even be good at organization. But if there isn't a destination that all of that is driving toward, it is not necessarily excellent kids ministry. And when we're talking excellent kids ministry, we're talking discipleship and what we want as far as the outcome. And so what we have been talking in the Kidmin office is, what does it mean to have a destination? And so, Mark, I know you're familiar with this, but I don't know how many of the people seeing
Right.
this are familiar with something that has come out of the national office. It's called the 7 dimensions of a spirit-filled disciple. And what that is essentially an effort to give clarity or definition, if you will, to what the destination should be. And so, in simplest terms, there's been a large group of people who were a part of helping to speak into this particular document that just discussed that if a individual is actively engaged in our church and participating in all of the things that we are doing to try to help them grow as disciples, will they end up, or will the destination, although that word is tough because we don't ever actually arrive, but
Right.
the outcome of each of our efforts, will they be growing? And we defined 7 areas or 7 dimensions that as a disciple we should be seeing growth. So this document is a little bit big, it's a little intimidating. And so when I walked in, I said, I feel like we should just bring it in. We should just make it as clean and as clear as possible. And so we took those seven dimensions. We took this idea of a destination and we developed what we're calling the discipleship pathway. And I know you have seen this.
Yes.
So each of the seven dimensions, you'll see them listed down the page: Bible, Holy Spirit, mission, prayer, worship, service, and generosity. We really believe that if, as a leader, you are trying to help each individual child in your ministry grow in each of those seven dimensions, you will begin to establish a destination and you will establish in each of those kids the beginnings of being a disciple. And because we don't ever arrive, the larger document shows how from children to students to adults, that process just keeps going as they keep growing in their faith and
Right.
faith walk.
Right. I like the idea of a destination, a goal, an objective. You're trying to get somewhere.
Yes.
I now we have GPS in my car, but before I had a GPS, I had a map, and
Right?
in the map there was two things I always had to know if I wanted to go somewhere or do something. Is I had to know where I was at, and had to know where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I think in kids ministry, it's good to have an idea where we want to go. What are our hopes and dreams, and what are we looking to say? God, what would you like to see happen in my life, in our kids' lives? And so that's a goal, that's a vision, that's the path you want to go down. But then you have to ask also, where am I at? Am I even close to that destination, or am I on that journey? 'Cause I look,
Right.
discipleship is that it's a journey for all of us, and so I know that in doing this, one of the things I like about the Seven Dimensions booklet, and by the way, these are going to be made available. We'll have links to these available in the notes for this, but there'll be
Good.
a link to the Seven Dimensions document. It's a PDF, and also the discipleship pathway,
Right.
and you'll have links to those, and we'll put up Julie's contact information and just the new I saw